In this video, I will take you behind the scenes on how I shot a cinematic short film in only one day. You'll see how I pre-produce a video with a script, shot list, and film schedule, how I cover scenes while ensuring that all shots smoothly connect in the editing, what settings I use to get the most crisp footage, how I capture complex transitions that actually contribute to the story, how I capture tracking shots from a car that look like they're straight out of a movie, and how I use creative lighting setups to transport the viewer into a different world. What you're about to see is actually a full lesson from Story Hero Academy. If you want to learn how to create videos people actually care about and bring an idea to life from start to finish, then check out the first link in the description. Now let's get into it.
Welcome to the first out of 3 behind-the-scenes lessons in which I'm going to take you with me on the shoot so you can get a practical insight into how I operate when capturing different types of videos. If you're wondering what a staged video is, it's basically when you work with an actor and you're able to direct their actions, and that just allows you to really craft the visual experience exactly as you intended to. For most staged videos, you have a completely defined script and often also a shot list. So also for the shoot that we're going to have today, we have an exact shot list that we can follow one after another. Examples for staged videos would be narrative movies or short films, commercials, or also B-roll sections of YouTube videos. For this video that I'm going to create today, I actually came up with the idea to capture the story of one person who just experiences 2 different versions of their day. One is going to be the consumer and the other one is going to be the creator. For one, the person is just going to have a very bad day because they're just locked onto their screen and they don't do anything, while on the other one, they actually grab their camera, they go out, they explore, they connect with other people, and they have a great day. I basically just wanted to create the story to really show the contrast of both worlds and to motivate other people to go out and also create. That's basically everything about the concept for now.
So let me give you an insight into the pre-production.
Alright, so as always, there was quite a bit of work that already went into the pre-production of this video. In the research phase, I came up with the general concept and I added references for the black and white outfit that would help me visually separate the 2 versions of the character. As the story of the staged video was predominantly told through the visuals, I created an outline of the main events I wanted to capture. The red events refer to the consumer and the green events refer to the creator. Once I had a vision of the visual side, I added fitting voiceovers in my script, which allowed me to add additional context for my story. Still, I kept the colored B-roll descriptions below the voiceover blocks, so I would always know what shots are going to be visible. Based on the script, I created a shot list that included all details about the shots I needed to capture, like for example the character, the action, the composition, additional comments such as the movement, the location, an indicator on whether or not the shot will be used as a match cut, and the expected time to capture the shot. This shot list created the backbone of my shoot, as I simply had to check off one shot after the other. Whenever I have a big shoot with multiple people, I always create a film schedule so everybody is on the same page. In the case of this video, the film schedule included the time, scene/slots, character, location, and participants. To keep it simple, the slots with the gray icons refer to organizational events, while the slots with the red icons refer to the scenes I had to capture. Within the scenes, I actually added custom views of the shot list, so I could only focus on the necessary shots I had to capture before moving on to the next scene. In case you want to get a deeper insight into the planning of this video, feel free to navigate to the Consume versus Create video project in the examples section of your Notion workspace, because here you can access all of the pre-production materials by yourself. The film schedule builds the structure for this lesson, where we capture one scene after the other. Please note that we didn't capture all scenes in the same chronology as in the video, but I adjusted the timing to have the perfect natural light at the different locations. So let's jump right into the first scene, where I captured shots of the creator while walking on the bridge during sunrise.
Alright, so we're now here at the first location. We're on this big bridge and we're just waiting for the sun to come up. It's going to come up in a few minutes. I just quickly want to show you the gear that we're going to use. I have this handheld setup. The reason why I have the monitor on here is just so that I can show you guys the settings that I use. Besides that, there's nothing too special about it. I just have a microphone on it as well. I'm going to use this setup for shooting handheld as well as shooting on a tripod. But besides that, I also have my gimbal setup as well, and I'm just going to use this one for moving shots where I have to follow the subject, as it's the case with this first shot. So I'm just going to turn the gimbal on, and then we are going to see what it looks like. So I actually have my good friend Maxi here, who's going to be the actor for today.
Hello, hello.
And As you know, I always like to have my shot list on the iPad because here I can very quickly look at all the different shots I want to capture. For this first one, I just want to have the creator walking on the bridge as if the sun just comes up and he's just starting his day. So basically, I want you to be in a good mood and basically just walk from this side towards this side. I'm going to start with a close-up shot of his feet. Then I'm going to do a wide shot where we actually reveal more of the location. And then I'm going to do another medium shot from the front to reveal more of his face. And for all of these different shots, I'm just going to circle around him so that I can match the movement and cut between all of them very seamlessly. So let's just first practice what it's like in order to have the right movements and everything figured out when the sun is coming up. So you always start here. And you just walk this way, just like looking around, basically as if the day is getting started and you're just like looking for a spot to sit down because that's where we're going to go for the next scene. Okay, let's give it a first try. And 3, 2, 1, action. Okay, I feel like it's nicer to completely turn the gimbal around instead of using the briefcase handle. So basically I'm just going to flip it to the other side. I always like to open up the tripod up here so I can just grab it like this. And like this I can shoot it much easier from a low angle instead of being like super low. Sun is coming up. There's just like a very small gap here in the back. But I think that looks super nice because we have the light rays and we're going to have direct sunlight for probably like 3 minutes. So I'm just going to try to nail those 3 shots right away because after that it's going to be blocked by the clouds a little bit and that's where we can move to the next location. Okay, let's give it a try. 3, 2, 1, action. Okay, let's do the wide shot right away. I switched to 24 millimeters, so you can go a tiny bit closer to the wall. Yeah, like that. 3, 2, 1, action. Yeah, so it's looking like the sun is not peeking completely through and we still have it very dark here in the foreground and I want the scene to be very uplifting. I want the creator to just like be outside, already get the sun in his face. Honestly, I think it's better to just wait until the sun is above that layer of clouds and we get some more direct sunlight. Let's still just practice the movement again. All right, so when we do the upper body one, it's good if you don't look completely to this side, but more to this side so that I see a little bit of your face. That was actually perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's also good if I move in front of you and you then pass the camera here. Because then we can connect it to the next scene. I'm already thinking about the next scene, which we're going to shoot over there. And he's going to sit down on a park bench. And it's really nice if he leaves the frame and then here in the next one, he can again just like enter the frame or just like walk towards the park bench. I think it gives a better connection. Let's keep it for the end as well and try it. So we just have the option in the editing.
As we still didn't have direct sunlight, we practiced the different movements and actions a few more times until we nailed them down to the point.
Right, so as you can see, now the sun is just peaking above the clouds and we finally get some direct sunlight, so you can already see it on Max's face. Let's go for the first take. 3, 2, 1, action. Cut. Okay, so I'm quickly just going to play back the clip so I can make sure that it's in focus. Yeah, I think it's really nice. Then we're going to shift to the second shot, which is the wide shot. I'm going to go a bit back, you stay. So now definitely like more emphasis on the emotion because we're going to cut to the second shot afterwards, okay? 3, 2, 1, action. So especially if you're working with a shot list and you know exactly what shots you need, take the time, make sure that you actually got the shot, that everything is correct, and then you can just move on while being confident and not thinking, oh, maybe something is wrong. Yeah, I think it's perfect. So let's go to the next shot, which is the medium shot. And that's going to be the last one at this location. So for this one, we need to pay a little bit more attention to Max's actions because now we're going to be close on his face. So we already practiced it before, that you mostly look straight forward, but then you're also going to look maybe to the right side so that he opens up and we can see his face. Because if he just looks this way, then nothing is going to be visible. 3, 2, 1, action. Okay, let's have a look at it. I really want to get the sun behind Maxi so that he's kind of like walking through it and we can see the sun flare in the shot as well. So I'm actually going to go a little bit lower. 3, 2, 1, action. I think you can have even stronger emotions. Like you can just like smile a little bit more. 3, 2, 1, action. I think we definitely have 2 good options, and that's going to be enough for the editing because it's going to be very quick cuts. Yeah, I think that's the one. Let's go to the next location.
We only had to walk a few meters to the next location where I would capture the second scene of the creator drawing a storyboard.
So for the shot list on the iPad, I can now just tick off the first 3 shots so that I stay on track which ones are already captured and which ones I still have to capture. When you're arriving at a location, you always need to think about where you're going to position all of the equipment so that it's not in the shot. So I'm just looking right now in which angles I'm going to shoot, and then I'm going to pick the location. So I definitely know that we're going to shoot towards the sun and we're going to be on this park bench back there. But I also want to capture maybe some wide shots from back here. So I think it's best if we just put the equipment just around here. I think next up, let's just get on the same page. So you know what to do, I know what to do. So again, we're going to have like some wider shots of you arriving. Then we're going to do a couple of close-up shots of you getting the stuff out because I want to do some quick cuts. Then we're going to have probably one push in towards you where you're drawing and then one push in over the shoulder where a match cut is going to happen. But let's go one shot at a time and let's see what this location offers. For this sequence, I don't know exactly how many shots I'm going to show on screen. I definitely want to get a little bit more coverage than what I have in my shot list just to have some options in the editing. So I'm going to capture additional shots along the way as well. In order to establish this new location, I think that it's going to look really nice to go to the back here and shoot it from behind the trees. We just have these beautiful trees with all the leaves. Yeah, I think something like this is actually really nice. I'm going to take these leaves a little bit into the foreground to create some depth. Then I'm going to slightly circle around here. And Maxi is just going to sit down on the park bench back there, okay? The sun is not going to peek through, so unfortunately we just have to shoot it with just some soft light, but there's no use in waiting for that long or else we just get issues later on because we don't have enough time for the other scenes. So for this one, I'm going to set a manual focus onto the bench so that it's not going to automatically shift towards the leaves when I move. Because I'm on such a high focal length, you can see that the gimbal is getting a little bit less stable. But I always prefer to just shoot upside down because in this way, all of the weight is down below, and in this way it's much easier to execute a very calm movement when you're on higher focal lengths. 3, 2, 1, action! Woof. Okay. So what I just did there is just like to execute the movement as long as possible before I have to do one step, because as soon as you do a step on such a high focal length, you're definitely going to see the shakes in the footage. But I think like that, I have the exact half second that I need that I'm going to use in the editing. All right, then let's go to the front and take the other shots. So for this one, I'm actually going to go into the handheld setup because this first overall sequence of the creator should have a lot of energy. And now that Max is just sitting there and he's not like walking, I want to raise the energy a little bit and add a little bit of handheld movements. So I'm just going to put the 2470 onto my handheld setup. So Maxi just asked if he needs to open the backpack from this side or this side. Always decide those small details for the first shots, because if you're going to capture multiple shots and you want to connect them to each other, then the action always needs to be the same. So obviously it makes sense to have them on this side because then later on I can capture it very nicely how he opens them up. 3, 2, 1, action. Okay, that should be the one.
At this point, I want to emphasize that it almost always requires multiple takes to nail a shot. However, from now on, I will mostly show you the final takes in order to keep it engaging. So please understand that I don't nail every shot on the first try, and you need to give yourself the necessary time to capture the perfect take.
So like this, okay. And there we can cut already. So we can already go to the next shot. So I'm going to take a little bit of this bench into the foreground because it just gives us a little bit more depth. 3, 2, 1, action. Okay, cut. Was nice. Then I'm actually going to switch my angle I just want to get some different angles to be able to cut quickly between them.
As you can see, whenever I capture a new shot, I pay attention to the 180-degree rule by staying on the same side of the character's eye line, and I also pay attention to the 30-degree rule by adjusting my horizontal angle to be at least 30 degrees apart from the previous angle. Following these two rules ensures continuity and a good visual flow in the editing.
3, 2, 1, action. Cut. Okay, so that one was really nice. There was actually a bus passing in the background, which just like added even more intensity because I want to have quick movements right now. So let's take the next angle where we're going to have more emphasis on what you do with the iPad. Like it could be to have one over the shoulder. It's going to be a little bit of a struggle with the focus here, especially with a high focal length and such a low angle. The focus is often going to jump in between the finger and maybe the front of the iPad. So in this case, it's probably better to just stick to manual focus. 3, 2, 1, action. I want to get maybe a couple of more close-up shots of your face, just looking down as well. So I'm going to shift a little bit between the iPad and your face. So we're going to be here. Okay, so this is a bit of a tricky situation because his hand is a little bit further away than his face. So manual focus, I have to always shift it, which I'm not super comfortable with. So instead I'm just going to use autofocus, but I'm going to change the responsiveness of the autofocus to be a little bit slower. So it doesn't immediately shift to the background when I move up, but it actually waits a little bit and then it's analyzes your face again. Action. I think we already got quite a lot of shots of the actual action of him drawing on the storyboard, but we didn't really see much of the screen yet. So far, we only have some nice shots where we have the reflection of the sky. So I would like to actually see a little bit of the storyboard because people need to understand that he's drawing a storyboard. That's why we're now just going to do some over-the-shoulder shots and we're going to see how we can get rid of the reflection properly.
In a situation like this, you would usually use a flag on the opposite side of the subject to get rid of the reflection. But as we forgot to bring our flag to that location, we had to come up with an alternative solution.
We need you a bit more here. Yeah, like this, but we need it to be a bit bigger. Can you take the other backpack? So as we're only taking close-up shots of the iPad right now, this is actually going to work. Because as you see, now there are not as many reflections. Yeah, that's perfect. Okay, so with this shot, I basically want to create a match cut. In the whole video, you saw it, there are a ton of match cuts where we switch between the creator and the consumer. In this one, I'm basically going to capture a close-up shot of Maxi drawing on the iPad, and he's just going to do an upwards movement in order to just make a stroke. And that's exactly where we cut, where we are going to switch to the consumer as he is just like scrolling down on his iPhone. We just have to get this movement perfectly right. And also it's always good to write down the exact focal length you use for your first shot of the match cut, and you take the same focal length for the second shot. So in this case, I'm just going to shoot it at 70 millimeters. And now let's just see how it works out. 3, 2, 1, action. Okay, cut. Heaviest flag ever. Let me quickly see. Yeah, I think it could work. Now I just mounted the macro lens on my camera because I want to capture some additional close-up shots just to have enough coverage for the editing in case I really want to speed it up. However, now actually the sun just came out again and now you can see that we have extremely hard light on one side while we don't have it on the other side. And all of the shots before just had this soft, cloudy daytime light. And for this reason, we're actually just going to have you sit down here in the shadow because I'm so close on his face that it doesn't really matter that he sits at the same position. So let's just go over there. So let's see what the close-up shots look like. Cut. So we basically covered everything here. Now we're going to go back to the apartment, and that's where we're going to shoot the first scene of the video where he basically just wakes up. Let's go.
After the first 2 locations, we made our way back to my apartment where we would capture the next scenes. When we arrived, it was 10 AM, so we were right on time for the next scene where both the creator and the consumer would wake up.
Okay, so for the next location, we're actually just going to shoot in my bedroom, and I'm just going to place a couple of different lights to get a nicer light situation in there. What I like to do is to always figure out my light setups before the shoot, because it's just super hectic to try out different creative light setups while you're under time pressure. So what I actually did is I made this light setup before, and then I always like to just record it on my iPhone, and then I just record the different settings I have. I always see the position where my different lights are positioned. So I can see, okay, my camera is going to be here. Then back here, I have a hard rim light. I also film the settings as well. And lastly, I also show that I have a pocket light in the back in my closet. So if you just record it one time like this, you can always just scroll through, look at the exact settings, and you can see where you're going to position your light sources. So I'm just going to build up this light setup. Magnets. So the 3 main light sources are already in place. Now I'm just going to close all the curtains so that we don't have any light entering the room, because obviously we want to make it look as if it was the morning. Also, I'm going to close these big blinds for the windows back here so that we don't have all of the light spilling into the room as well. So I'm just basically going to completely darken the environment. All right, so I'm just going to quickly walk you through the light setup, but in order to give you a visual, I'm just going to place my camera. So as you can see right now, everything is pretty much underexposed. And when I shoot in S-Log3, I don't really like to go to higher ISOs. I only like to shoot at the native ISOs, which are either 640 or 12,800. So in this case, I would actually go up to 12,800. This is obviously a little bit too bright, so I'm going to attach an ND filter, and we're going to see if that works out nicely. Yeah, like that, I think we have the right exposure. Okay, so I just placed the camera so I can show you all the different lights. Right now, I'm just going to turn all the lights off, and then I'm going to turn them on one after another. So first up, outside, we have a big key light with a softbox, which is going to just spill some soft light into the room so that we have some overall brightness on maxi. And I actually just position it outside here, because then I can just use these doors in order to regulate the spill. I don't want it to be everywhere. Like if I just open both of them up, you see that it's everywhere. But if I just close them a little bit, then I can just direct the light mostly towards Maxi's face so that not everything is super bright. Also this one, I can just bring it in a little bit to maybe something like this. And in this way, Maxi has just like a nice light, which is lighting up his face. Then next up, we have the rim light. This one is just going to give Maxi kind of like a nice edge on his face. So if you just look towards this direction, you should be able to see that there is like more of an edge right now, which just separates him from the background. And then lastly, I also have a small pocket light back here. So if we turn that one on, that basically just illuminates the wall, which creates a contrast to all of the different clothes hanging here. And that just adds additional depth to the overall image. So when it comes to positioning your lights, obviously you always want to first check out the wide angle in order to be sure that the lights are not always in the way. And I know that I'm going to capture one shot from here, but I'm also going to capture one wider shot from back here, where the closet is going to be visible as well. So I'm just going to see what it looks like from back here. So as you can see right now, the rim light in the back is definitely visible. So I'm just thinking that for this shot, I might just move the rim light even further in there. Obviously, if I'm completely opening the door, then it's also going to spill out, but we can still move it as close as possible to the back while directing it still to Maxi. I'm gonna try to close the door a little bit. Yeah, in this way, the light is not visible also in the wide shot. Let's just frame the first close-up shot. So I'm definitely going to go a bit lower. So here we're actually going to position Maxi's camera and Maxi's phone. Okay, so I'm basically just trying to find a nice composition. I think it looks actually really cool if the light from the closet reflects itself on the phone, so the phone screen is maybe a bit more visible. So I want to show them, okay, you always have the decision every morning to either grab your phone or your camera. And for this reason, I just tried to keep this frame as simple as possible because that's going to be the first shot and it's also going to be the last shot as well. I'm actually going to lower this light even more. I still think that it's too artificial to have so much light coming from the front. I just want it to look extremely natural. So we got the framing, we got the lighting. Now we just have to think about the action, because for this one we have to do a very timed shot. So I first want the focus to be on Maxi himself. He wakes up, turns his head towards the camera and the phone, and then I have to do a manual focus shift towards the two devices in the front. Then he's going to take the phone and you start scrolling, and while you're taking the phone, I shift the focus back to you again, and you're just like scrolling in bed. This is the consumer role right now, so you definitely want to be with a mood just like, I don't care about my life, it's like just another day, you know? Yeah. And you can go. So obviously right now, this shot is going to be visible for a longer time in the beginning, and it's just going to be one shot without any cuts. So actually the timing has to work out very well together with the pace of the voiceover. So in this case, it could actually be nice to just look at the script, just go through the voiceover in your head again and just like read it out while you're watching the shot so that you can make sure that the timing is going to be correct. So I'm just going to do that right now. Okay, so right now I have the script here and it says, every day it's your choice. Are you going to consume or are you going to create? Trust me, there are two different versions of yourself. Actually, I can just play back the clip right now and read it out while watching it, and then I can make sure that it's correct. Every day it is your choice. Are you going to consume or are you going to create? Trust me, there are two different versions of yourself. Yeah, I think we should do it one time a little bit quicker as well, just to be safe. Cut. We definitely have some different timings now. I can obviously also adjust the pace of my voiceover to it, but with those different options, I can definitely make it work. Now, I also want this shot to be the last shot as well. Most likely, this shot is going to work for it, but I want to have another option where you just wake up, look at it, and you don't grab one of them yet, okay? Okay, so actually the next two shots that I have on my shot list are again for a match cut, where we're going to position the camera on the tripod. However, I just like to have additional coverage in case I want to show additional shots of Maxi just scrolling on his phone. So I'm just quickly going to take my camera and just capture a few handheld shots of him. Cut. I have something in between. Now we're just going to frame up the next shot, which is a wide shot where we're going to have a match cut happening again. So I'm just first going to position the camera. So I think for this shot it's nice if maybe the camera is still a little bit in the frame, but the main focus is definitely on the room, and then also when he's going to stand in the background, just taking his clothes from the closet. So Maxi, can you maybe just get up quickly and just position yourself so I can see how high you are going to be back there? All right, Maxi, can you just quickly turn on the light to see what it looks like? Yeah, okay. So I'm just going to already make the exposure for the brightest part, which is this. The only thing I'm thinking about right now is how the focus shift exactly is going to happen. So obviously in the first shot, I can do the focus shift from him towards the background, but the other focus shift has to happen at the exact right point in order to make the cut while the focus shift is happening. So we definitely have to time this one correctly, and I'm going to give you a timing for that, okay? You're just scrolling on your phone. Yeah, we got that one. You can now get up and make the bed. I'm going to still hit record, just very carefully so it stays at the same frame. Okay. Cut. I think that both of them are good. So for these next two shots in the bathroom, we're again going to create a match cut, and that's probably one of the most difficult match cuts I've created before. With the tripod, you can always just position a tripod in the same way, or if you just have a person in the middle of the frame, you just basically make the composition the same way. However, with this one, we need to get a lot of different things right, because I want to do a handheld movement towards Maxi, and then he just starts washing his hands. Then I tilt up, and then the consumer in his black hoodie is going to be visible. And as you can see right here, we have a mirror, and that is going to cause some problems because I have to hide right behind the mirror. Right now you can see that the microphone is going to be visible first. So we're going to see maybe I can position the microphone somewhere else, or I'm going to get rid of it completely. I just come in here, you start washing your hands, put it on, yes. And then I go up, and that's where the consumer is going to be visible. So that's the idea. First up, let's figure out what lighting works in here. It's basically impossible to get any rim light because anything is going to be visible back here. However, the only thing that we can do is just position a small light here in order to give Maxi a little bit of fill light from the front. So let's just see what that looks like. For that, I'm going to take the diffusion plates because I want him to have a softer light in his face. I'm just going to bring it very far down, just position it back here. Yeah, that's definitely nicer than without it. We're first going to do the creator shot, get this one right, maybe a couple of tries to have some options in the editing. Then you're going to change your outfit, and then we do the other one, okay?
Sounds good.
For this shot, Maxi and I had to do a ton of takes in order to adjust the action and camera movement to each other. Also, I had to pay a lot of attention to my end position so that I'm not visible in the mirror. And after more than 10 takes, Maxi really started to get tired of the perfume.
Yeah, you're gonna smell of perfume. You hate perfume, yeah, that's perfect.
I realized that the spray of the perfume wasn't even visible as I imagined, as we didn't have a rim light. So we decided to change the action to Maxi putting on his shirt, as it would also allow me to better connect to the previous shot.
Ready? Yep. 3, 2, 1, action. That could be the one. Let's see. Yeah, it's a bit intense and shaky, but honestly, I think it's what's going to hide the cut even more. I think it's gonna work.
I think it's good.
All right, let's change outfit and let's do the second shot. So right now, while he's changing outfit, I'm already going to have a look at the exact positioning I need to make the other cut, because right now I don't need to move like while walking. I just need to get the tilt right. This is what the shot looked like at the end. So the cut is going to happen right here. I'm actually just going to take a photo with my phone so I can look at it at the same time while I'm framing the next shot. Yep. Okay, let's give it a try. 3, 2, 1, go. So I need to be here, and then, okay, let's try it again. And 3, 2, 1, go.
After more than 20 takes, we finally nailed the shot, so we moved on to the next one.
So for this shot, I'm actually going to move the table a little bit to the front. When you connect different shots and it's mostly in the foreground, people are most of the time not going to realize that it moved a little bit, but it just allows Maxi to do a more fluent movement, and it allows me to better frame the shot. So I'm just going to put the table back here. I might twist it in a little bit. Okay, so for this shot, I actually want to have the camera in focus, and I want Maxi to just like be out of focus in the beginning. He just leaves the bathroom, and then people are going to think, okay, is he going to take the camera or not? And then he basically just puts his arm inside, grabs the camera, and that's where we switch to the other shots that we filmed right in the beginning on the bridge, where we follow the legs of the creator. I think it's good if there's maybe a tiny bit more light on the camera itself. So I might actually adjust the rim light to just hit the camera a bit from the back so that it has a stronger shape. So it definitely adds a little bit of an edge to the parts on the left side of the frame and also to the table. For the camera, it doesn't really do that much, but it still helps to separate it a little bit. So I'm again just taking a small pocket light, placing it here, and I'm going to see if I can get a little bit more details into the camera. That's obviously way too much, something like 5%. Then yeah, we already have a lot more detail on the camera itself. Okay? Yeah, I think it's super cool. Nice.
After we captured all shots in the bedroom and bathroom, we moved to the living room, where we set up the lights for the next scene of the consumer scrolling on his phone.
Okay, so let's figure out what looks good here. To be honest, I didn't check out this lighting setup before, so we're just going to do it on the run. First shot here is going to be where he scrolls on Instagram, and we have the match cut from earlier that we captured at the park bench, where he just like does the swipe with his pen. That means I already need to be on this side. If you know the 180-degree rule, after a shot from this side, it would also make sense to cut to another shot from this side, instead of switching it completely up. We can just place one rim light to give him a little bit of an edge, but besides that, I would just keep it very natural right now. So let's see what effect that has on Maxi. Yeah, honestly, I wouldn't overcomplicate it here. It should look natural. It should just look as if he's sitting at home. In the background, we have some lights and the TV, which I think works perfectly. So let's just get you a breakfast bowl with some cereal, and then we are going to frame up the first shot, which is the match cut. All right, so when it comes to the match cut, as I mentioned earlier, you should always remember the focal length of the first clip and then match it with the second clip. So as you might remember from earlier, we shot on 70 millimeters. So I'm just going to put the 24-70 on there. If you're shooting with a diffusion filter, always switch it when you're switching lenses. I'm wondering, should you wear the hood for most of the shots? Yeah, honestly, it looks so much more depressing. I would keep it on. So as you see, I'm always thinking about what he looks like before I start with the first shot, because as soon as you start and then you realize stuff, then you have to just capture all of the other shots again. 3, 2, 1, action. I think it's going to work. We're going to see it in the editing. But let's go to the next shot. I purposely want to capture this shot on the tripod because no movement at all is going to expose the consumer even more, and the viewer is only going to focus on his action, which is basically just his sad existence sitting at home, eating his breakfast, looking on his phone. While before we used a lot of handheld movements to show the creator in his process, now we're just going to work a lot with completely steady shots. Okay, so right now, we definitely get a little bit of a flare from the rim light. That happens due to the filter, so if I just take the filter off, then this flare is going to disappear. So actually in this case, it would make sense to just remove the filter for this one shot, and maybe you can add a little bit of a bloom in the editing if you really want to match it to the diffusion look. When I look at the background, I still feel like the right side here is a little bit empty, so I'm just going to put some additional pillows there. Let's see what that looks like. That's already much better. And then you can go now. Cut.
Next up, I captured a medium close-up shot from a slightly lower angle, which I could connect to the previous one. And to be safe in the editing, I also captured an additional wide shot from the side. Oh, and as it turned out, Maxi doesn't only hate perfume, but also muesli.
You have to eat it, bro. He's just waiting for...
Hopefully it's cut.
Man, it's hard to shoot with a guy who doesn't eat mueslis. Okay, so now I'm just going to get one macro shot of your eye. It generally makes sense to film the eye that is further away from the camera, because then you can create depth by just shooting over the nose, while if you just shoot towards the eye that is closer to the camera, then you don't have anything to basically just create depth in your shot. Okay, now bring the phone very close to your eye. Closer, closer. So the phone is on full brightness already right now, which means that we need to lower the lights all around so that this light just appears brighter and we can see the reflection a lot more in his eyes. So I'm just going to close the windows a little bit. I'm just going to boost the ISO now to 12,800. Going to close the aperture a little bit, and now we can see a really nice reflection of the phone in the eye. And then we're just going to capture some shots where you're scrolling, okay? A little bit back. No. Now it's just about the distance. So right now what happens is if Maxi moves just a little bit closer, like to the front or back, then we are just going to be out of focus, unless I tried with autofocus, but most of the time it does really work well with macro lenses. I'm just going to position you a bit higher. You need to go closer, closer. Yes, just like that. Okay, so you just scroll and I'm actually going to move your head in case I need to adjust it, okay? And do longer scrolls where it actually exactly like that. I need a little bit more fill light in the front, just so that his face doesn't appear that dark. So I'm just going to lower this. Okay, you can look. Scroll longer. So, as you see, macro shots always takes a lot of time to get it right, but once you get them right, they're really, really cool. And I think they always make a video much more interesting because it's just a completely different perspective. Okay, so we covered all the shots inside here. Now we're just going to go to the staircase and we're going to capture shots of Maxi walking outside the house. Okay, so for this next shot, we're again going to shoot on the gimbal because I have a specific movement in mind. Basically, if we go out here, I have this really cool stairway leading down to the bottom, and that just provides a super interesting top-down angle. So I want to capture a shot where the camera is facing down like this, and then Maxi is basically just going to walk down while I slowly twist the camera. And I basically try to just like match his movement as he's also turning down. And I think that's a super nice visual metaphor to emphasize the dark side of what he's going through, because he's just like in this downward spiral where he's just getting more and more lost in the world of social media and consumption. 3, 2, 1, action. Cut. So what I did there is I basically just waited for him to be at the right part of the stairway where it looks the most cinematic, because I'm only going to show the shot for maybe like 1 to 2 seconds. So I basically sometimes just go again to the starting point, and then I just do the movement again when I know that he's at the right part of the frame. I think it's actually nice to have that movement further down to get the depth of the different stairs. So let's try one more where I do more downwards movement, and then we're going to go to the next one. 3, 2, 1, action. Cut. Okay. Nice. Okay, that was definitely a little bit difficult to just really get the movement and the timing of the action right, but we got it. So we're just going to go outside, and there we're going to capture the next shots. I want to capture 2 different shots. One is going to be a close-up of his face where he just peeks outside. And then the other one is going to be a wide shot from the side where I basically match his movement and move towards this side. At that point, actually another match cut is going to happen where we have a pillar moving through the frame, and then we cut to the creator again, who's going to be in the park, just like taking his camera up instead of the phone. All right, so first up, let's capture the close-up shot. So basically you're just going to be inside, and then you're just like peeking outside like, ooh, sunlight. I don't want to see sunlight. And then you just go outside already. And then here, I want you to like pick up your phone at this point. Let me quickly see what it looks like. I'm now just going to change my white balance because we're outside. So now I'm going to go to 5600 because we have just pure sun. Position yourself again. So I'm going to set manual focus already to your face. Yeah, like this is perfect. 3, 2, 1, action. Cut. Okay, I think that one was already good. Let me quickly check if it's completely in focus, that's all. Yeah, it's in focus. It's a good one. Yeah, let's take this one. Then now from this shot, we're going to cut to the wide shot, as there are a lot of people here and just like no space where I can move. I'm actually going to go all the way back. So if we now just zoom in to 70 millimeters, you can see that we have a lot of compression. And in this way, we can just follow the movement of the creator perfectly along the side. So the viewer, if he looks this way, then he's definitely going to realize that there are different street lanterns, and that's why it would be very natural that here is another street lantern that we can use as a transition. So I'm just going to execute the movement, and then afterwards I'm going to capture basically just a clean shot of a street lantern that I can just mask out and use as a wipe transition. So let's first capture the clean shot, and then afterwards I'm going to capture the transition shot. So I'm actually going to just hold the back button of my gimbal so that it stays completely just like locked in one position, and this way I can just move sideways. And action. Okay. Yeah, that one can work. We're gonna make this one work. All good. So basically now I just need to capture one street lantern by itself that I can easily separate from the background. Okay, so here we have the street lantern. It's a lot easier to separate because the background is white, so I can just easily mask it out and just use it for the transition. Obviously, it shouldn't be sharp, but it should be blurry because it's just a foreground element. So for this reason, I'm just going to shift to manual focus, I'm going to go to the same focal length, 70 millimeters, and I'm going to adjust the focus to a similar distance. So now you can see it's only that blurry part that is just passing by. That's all we're going to use. 3, 2, 1. Yep. I'm going to do one more slowly, so you can always speed it up, but slowing it down is going to be hard if I shoot in 25 FPS. So I'm going to do one slow one as well. Okay, that's basically it. I'm just going to mask that one out, use it as a transition, and then we're going to capture the other shot in the park.
We were still on track with the timings of the film schedule, and for the next location we headed into the nearby park, where I wanted to capture shots of the creator vlogging his experience.
We're just right now here in the park, which again is a much more flourishing environment to film in. And basically now we're just going to capture the second shot for the match cut. So we had the other shot where he is walking and just taking out his phone. And now we're going to basically do the same movement with your camera, where you're just putting up your camera and you're just like filming yourself. As I said, we're going back to 70 millimeters in order to match the same focal length as before. Let's just walk for a bit. Yeah. I think that actually looks really nice, this part, because we have a lot of leaves that are at the correct height, so we can use them as a foreground. Also, we have these additional trees passing by. So I think, again, it's going to work well with the transition, because before people saw different street lanterns. Now they're seeing different trees in this direction. So it's just like very similar environments, which is always going to help you when it comes to, transitions of any kind, to be honest. Again, I'm just going to take a photo of this frame so that I know exactly how to frame Maxi for this shot. Something like this should already work out very well. I might go a little bit back. Obviously we're shooting in 4K, so we always have the option to still crop in a little bit. I think that something like this should be a good distance to him. So actually we let Maxi capture all of the shots that he does with his camera, because later on we're going to use these shots to just put them into a Premiere Pro timeline so that we can actually make it look as if Maxi is editing his own video. This is just like small stuff you have to keep in mind, because it's just going to add even more credibility to the whole story. I actually kind of like that there are some other people sitting here. They're just there with their bikes, and I think it just looks super natural, as if it's just like a super nice park environment. So I'm actually going to let Maxi start in front of the people, and then he should just lift his camera in the middle of those people. And 3, 2, 1, action. 3, 2, 1, and action. God, okay. I think it actually looks super cool. It looks so much more natural to have other people in the foreground. We just now need to match the movement for the next shot. So you take the camera up, then you talk to it, to this side, and then back. I think we can connect very well when you go back to it. And now I'm just going to capture another close-up shot where I'm basically just like circling in to just like have you a little bit closer, to have another medium shot that we can connect to this tracking shot from the side. 3, 2, 1, action. That was actually quite nice.
I liked it as well.
I think it's good.
Looked natural.
Yeah, I think that we covered the most important shots here. Now I would just like to capture some different angles of you capturing videos. So basically I just want to show the viewer that if you just immerse yourself into the environment and you open your eyes, then you can actually just find so many nice things around you, and if you're just present. Basically, I'm just going to capture a few shots with the gimbal, then I'm going to switch to the handheld setup, and we're just going to see whatever looks nice here, and we're just going to improvise a little bit. Let's do it.
Let's go.
Actually, for these shots, I'm now going to switch to 50 FPS. So far, everything was completely in real time and 25 FPS. But for these shots, I want the viewer to feel like the moment is a little bit more intense and everything is slowing down a little bit for the creator character. So I'm just going to capture all of these shots in 50 FPS, and we're going to have a small slow motion sequence. 3, 2, 1, action. One more. 3, 2, 1, action. 3, 2, 1, action. Okay, let's capture one more on 70 millimeters of only the camera. 2, 1, action. Okay, right now I'm just trying to capture some wide shots but always try to capture an additional medium shot or close-up shot that I can connect to it so that I can build a nice sequence of different shots. So let's actually have a look back there. I'm just seeing these logs laying around here, so I'm sure that we can do something there when it comes to foreground. So let's just check out this place. 3, 2, 1, action. 3, 2, 1, action. 3, 2, 1, action. Yep, I got a lot of gimbal action, but if I want to spice it up more in the editing or I want to add more intensity, I also want to capture some handheld shots as well. So I'm just going to mount the 2470 onto my handheld setup, and then we're going to capture some similar actions, but also some different actions. 3, 2, 1, action. 3, 2, 1, action. Three, 2, 1, go. 3, 2, 1, action. Cut.
While all other parts of the video were scenes with a specific chronology of shots, this part of the video was a montage where I didn't yet know how the shots will be connected in the editing. So in order to increase my shot diversity and have more options in the edit, I played around with additional spots, movements and actions. As you see, when slowed down, the 50 FPS shots look extremely smooth, which was perfect to immerse the viewer into this part of the story. After we captured a good amount of shots, we moved on to the next scene of the consumer being isolated underneath a bridge.
So again, I think that this is the place where the consumer would chill in the shadow while the creator is more like in the sun and in the nature. And basically this is going to be another shot for a match cut. There's going to be another shot before where the creator walks towards his friend and just wants to hand clap his friend. And then as soon as the match cut happens, the creator is just going to stand here and basically just realizes he's back on his phone. As you learned in lesson 6.2 about visual psychology, I always keep the directions of where the character moves in mind. It is very natural to progress towards the right side, while it's very natural to regress towards the left side. So if the subject now just walks in here, it feels like he was trying to go to a new location, but then he looks around, and if he's turning back, it basically communicates to the viewer that he is just leaving to the location where he came from. I'm just going to set up the tripod and then we're going to execute this shot. Okay, so I'm just right now positioning the camera, and I think that a shot from here is going to look really nice because we have a lot of symmetry when it comes to the architecture, and we also have this guiding line towards the subject in the middle. Max, you can move a little bit further backwards. For this one, I really want to go for a very wide shot so that the subject is just isolated by itself, and it really is being transported to the viewer that he's just all by himself with nobody else at this location. I'm also going to change my white balance to be a little bit colder. So now I have to figure out what focal length I'm going to use. So I think if I go extremely wide, then we don't really have the symmetry of the sides, but if I zoom a little bit further in, then we're going to have more depth of all the pillars that go to the back. I would rather say that we go on a higher focal length and Maxi just like goes a little bit further away rather than going to a low focal length and have him closer. You can go. Yeah, hold it a little bit longer, just like, and then like the way you look is just like too alert. I think it should really be like, and then it's like, okay, like slower. I'm very specific when it comes to actions, but honestly, I feel like actions are really what transports the mood of a particular scene. So I'm really trying to always give my subjects a better idea of what I'm looking for. Yeah, I think it was good. I think I'm still just going to capture one handheld as well. And I'm just going to emphasize a little bit the movement of when you like just arrive in this world. 2, 1, go. Cut. We have two options now. We have one completely steady, we have one with a small movement. Then we're going to see which one works better in the editing. Lastly, I still want to capture like 1 or 2 angles of you actually with your phone there, just if I want to further emphasize that moment and just like have it a little bit longer visible on screen. So let's just go back there and I'm going to capture like 2 handheld shots. 3, 2, 1, action. It's probably going to be a very fast edit and I might not use these shots, but it's just the worst thing if you're just in the editing and you feel like, oh man, if I just captured this one shot, even though it just takes like 1 minute.
After this scene, we headed back to the car and drove to the next location. The next scene was all about showcasing the fun and supportive friendship of the creator, and we needed to cover a variety of shots in different areas of the harbor.
Okay, so we're now at the harbor and I think that this looks like a really nice location for what I've planned. As you can see, we now also have Gabriel as the second character, so he's just going to act as the friend of the creator. And now I just want to shoot a small scene with 2 different shots where Maxi basically says hello to Gabriel and then they just like clap in the middle. And that's why we have the side shot where we're going to just do a match cut to the other shot where the consumer was underneath the bridge. For this part, I actually also want to have some audio. One of you guys says, hey, let's go shoot this thing. And the other one says like, yeah, let's do it. Give it one try to see how good you perform.
Hey man, let's shoot this thing. Let's do it, bro.
All right, when it comes to the actual clap, just thinking back to the other shot we captured underneath the bridge, it needs to happen when you're already standing, right? So it's nice if you just come here, you just stop and then you clap, okay? Can you just try one?
Hey man, let's go shoot this thing. Let's do it, bro.
Yeah, that is going to work out. So I'm just going to get my gimbal prepared. In this case, I'm also going to mount my microphone on top of the gimbal so I already am able to record some audio. Basically, I'm going to have a shot where I first focus on Maxi and then I'm going to shift the focus towards you, okay? 3, 2, 1, action.
Hey man, let's go shoot this thing. Let's do it, bro.
Now we're just going to shift to the side shot, which is going to be a wide shot. There's a lot of people passing here, so we just have to look for a gap. Okay, so I'm first just going to manually set the focus to be on Maxi, so I don't have to worry about it because I'm going to stay at the same distance. And then I'm just going to keep him completely in the middle of the frame. You ready? 3, 2, 1, action. Okay, yeah, honestly, I think that's the one. Just one shot and we got it. So now I just want to capture some additional audio to actually have them say what they were saying. So I just have the option in the editing to add the audio underneath the wide shot. And go.
Hey man, let's go shoot this thing. Let's do it, bro.
Okay, then we get Gabriel's as well.
Let's do it, bro.
Yeah, that one was good. Okay, so we captured all of the shots here. Next up, we're actually just going to get some rental bikes and capture some tracking shots.
On our way to the rental bikes, I decided to capture some authentic handheld shots that showcase the friendship of both characters. In this case, I simply told Maxi and Gabriel to naturally interact with each other, while I freestyled various organic movements. These shots turned out to be really useful in the editing, as they allowed me to seamlessly transition to the next scene.
So we just rented 2 bikes. This is the bike rental we always use to just get around the city. Both of the guys are just going to cycle on this cycling way here, and they're just going to kind of like chase each other and have a little bit of fun. And I'm going to hop into the car and I'm actually going to shoot a handheld out of the car, probably on a higher focal length, because I want to get a lot of intensity into those shots. I want to get some shots where I'm actually shifting the point of interest from maybe like the pedals where they are pedaling towards the top where they're just like looking at each other. This is the plan. So I'm just going to hop into the car and then we're going to see what happens. Put down the window, just like that. I'm just going to place myself in here.
So it's important to mention that I carefully scouted the road beforehand in order to make sure that there wouldn't be any traffic. Even though I wanted to have the boats of the harbor in the background of my shots, we purposely started on an earlier stretch of the road to already practice the coordination between me and the driver. And as you can see, the first shots already turned out quite nicely.
Actually looks super cool. Again, I'm just shifting the point of interest from the pedals towards them because I think it looks super sick. Yeah, we have all these different layers passing in the foreground. Now I'm actually just going to go out on a lower focal length as well. Just get a wider shot. Okay, can you race again? Okay, I think we got some really nice shots here. I'm just wondering if we do maybe one more round where we are a little bit more like in front of them, so I have a better angle towards their faces. And let's go a bit faster. Yeah, speed up, overtake them. They're fucking dying, but they're giving everything. Honestly, the acting is completely on point. I love the intensity of these shots. You're a champion.
I know.
Thank you for pushing. Honestly, like the acting was fucking insane. The thing is, it wasn't even acting. They're just like literally racing because they have too much ego.
While I anticipated to capture the last outdoor shots during golden hour, it didn't really look like we would have a proper sunset.
Close to the horizon, there is definitely a layer of clouds where we're not going to get really like direct sunlight. So I'm even thinking about shooting it earlier. Like it is right now, we still get a little bit of sun in. Later, it might be completely covered.
For the next 30 minutes, we closely observed the clouds to see whether or not there would be a gap for direct sunlight. But unfortunately, it didn't look like it would happen.
Okay, so basically you can see that a lot more clouds moved in. We're not going to have a sunset. For this reason, we're just going to shoot it now while the sun is still a little bit creating a contrast in the sky. So we're just going to capture some shots of the guys coming with the bike, arriving at the spot here, taking out their camera and just capturing different shots and creating videos together. So let's start with the first one where they're just pushing their bikes and just walking here while chatting with each other. You should still be high intensity as before, okay? So I'm first going to capture a wide shot. You guys are ready? Cut. We're going to do one more on 70 millimeters and just follow them along so that we have a second shot again to cut to. Okay, cut.
As the sun quickly started to disappear behind the clouds, I needed to hurry up as there were still some shots to capture. But as I purposely wanted to go for a natural and spontaneous look, I decided to let the guys interact with each other while I simply tried to capture the most authentic actions and emotions. Also, I actively added organic handheld movements to maintain the high energy of the whole scene.
I basically just let the guys do whatever they feel like because I always get the best and most authentic emotions if they're actually just in a flow instead of staging one shot after another. So I just let them do what they do and I try to just interact with the camera in the most natural way possible. However, if I see that I want to have a specific shot or a specific action, like right now, then I just ask them to do that action specifically again so I can capture it from the right angle. So right now, you're in a flow before as well, but then you just come to this position and you just like look at the shots together, okay?
For high energy moments like this, I actually often switch to lower focal lengths as the wide field of view makes the movements look more dynamic and the actions appear even more authentic.
All right, so for this last shot, I think that this is probably the nicest framing that we're going to get. We still have contrast in the sky, we have the boats in the background, which gives us depth. And I would like to do just pull out where both of them are giving each other a fist bump, and then here it basically just ends. 3, 2, 1, action. Super tricky one when it comes to the focus, because both of the guys are just moving to different positions and the camera just has to kind of like analyze where they're going to be. In this case, I'm actually going to try it with zone focus, which is basically kind of like the middle part of the image. And I just hope that as soon as you guys are in the frame, it sets the focus to have the fist bump in focus. 3, 2, 1, action. Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's basically a wrap for the last outdoor location, and now we're just going to go back to the apartment where we're going to try something very interesting by using a projector. Let's do that.
So all of us hopped into the car for one last time and we made our way back to my apartment where we had to capture the last scenes of the creator and consumer in a creative light setup.
So for the last two scenes, we actually rented a projector. Basically just costs $50 a day. and it's an amazing tool when it comes to creative lighting. There's basically two different setups that you can do. You can either project light onto a wall, or you can use it as backlighting, and if you then just use a smoke machine in addition to that, then you're really going to see very strong light rays that just look extremely cinematic. We're actually going to use both of these different lighting setups, and I thought that it's the perfect chance to just show the contrast between the consumer and the creator. For the consumer, we're going to project a lot of social media videos onto this wall while he's just scrolling on his phone. So it should just seem that he is being completely consumed by all of the content. While for the creator, we're going to do another setup where he's going to edit here on the table while the projector's in the background, and then he's just going to have a lot of light rays coming out of him as if he's just creating something and there's just a lot of energy with him. So yeah, this is what I've planned. Now we're just going to set up the first light setup back here, and then we're going to see what it actually looks like. Basically, we just have my laptop hooked up with an HDMI cable to the projector, and then here on the wall, you can see exactly what I see on my screen. So basically, I just created an animation by myself. I basically just recorded a lot of different like social media platforms, TikTok, Instagram and whatsoever, and I was just scrolling through, put all of them into an After Effects composition, put a couple of wiggles on it, and this is exactly what we're just going to project onto this wall. You can already see it back here. I think it already looks really, really cool. Now we're just going to perfectly adjust the height and make the setup look as clean as possible. Right now, I think that this light, we should just turn it off. We should make it as dark as possible so that we have a higher contrast on the wall. However, I still think it could be nice maybe to place a small light source next to the plant to at least create a little bit of depth. Let's just take a pocket light. I'm gonna place it back here. Okay, so I think that this already looks really good. However, I also want it to look as if the consumer is watching TV at the same time while he's scrolling on his phones, just consumption overload. This TV doesn't really have the correct height, it's way too high, and then I can't really take the shots that I want to take. We actually just need the light which sells the right effect. For this reason, I'm just going to take this small open face light and I'm just going to position it back here. Because with this light, I actually have some different effects. So if I just shift through here, you see that we have some different light effects that we can use. And one of them is actually TV. So that one basically gives Maxi different levels of brightness, which is just going to simulate that there is a TV basically just running in front of him, which causes that light onto his face. So let's check it out, what it looks like on camera. Okay, so I think that already looks like a really, really nice setup. However, it would also be nice to create the additional contrast and depth on the other side as well. So I'm gonna place a second pocket light just behind here so that we emphasize the shape of the sofa. So now I'm actually going to switch off the key light here in the background so that we can have a proper look at the setup. Okay, so I think that this setup already looks really nice. We have all the different projections on Maxi's face. However, one thing that I realized right away is that the light from the projector actually flickers. So if we just look here, you see that we have just like some flickering light, and that's because the light frequency of this projector doesn't match up with our frame rates. I'm shooting in PAL frame rates, which is 25 FPS, while this one probably has NTSC light frequencies. Obviously they don't match up. So I basically just have to change my frame rate settings from PAL to NTSC. And from here I can choose 24 FPS. I'm going to select 10-bit, and then if we now just look at the different videos, you can see that there is no more flickering. Obviously, when it comes to the editing, I then have to interpret my 24 FPS clips to 25 FPS in order to match up with all of my other clips. But as we don't use any audio for all of these shots, it's not actually a big deal because it's just going to be slightly sped up and nobody's going to notice. I need to be extremely low in order to capture shots without my shadow. So only something like this is going to work. And obviously I can stand on the side, so here it's not going to be an issue. I think the setup is clean, it's done. I'm going to switch to the gimbal and I'm going to execute the first shot. So for this first shot, I am just going to create a gimbal shot where I reveal the consumer being in the setup. For another shot that we're going to capture later, I'm actually going to circle around the monitor where I am going to create another transition that reveals him sitting in front of his TV. So we don't really need to have the TV here, but we just need to do the right movement. So I'm just going to go down here. I'm going to try to hide from the shadows. Maxi Is your phone already on full brightness? Yeah? Okay. Let's actually see what it looks like if you have a small pocket light on there. Yeah, with a pocket light on the phone, we definitely have a higher emphasis on his face. So right now, I just need a completely normal pan where I reveal the creator like this. Okay, 3, 2, 1, action. Okay, my shadow was visible. 3, 2, 1, action. Okay. So this was on 35 millimeters. I'm going to remember it for later when we capture the second shot for this transition. But I'm also going to capture one which is a bit closer, just to have the option. 3, 2, 1, action. Okay, so I think we got some really nice shots to just introduce the consumer and the setup. Now I'm going to switch to the handheld setup, and I'm just going to capture some shots where I shift the interest from his phone towards his face. So basically, I'm just going to position myself here on the side, and you can see in the background here on the pillow that there are actually all of these different feeds scrolling up and down. So it's going to exactly match to Maxi's movement if he just moves his finger on his phone. And then I'm just going to shift from the phone towards his face, where we also see all of the content just being projected onto Maxi's face. All right, so let's just do a couple of shots like this. These shots are fire. I'm just gonna capture shots from some different angles because I don't have it every day that I have such an advanced, cool setup. Three, 2, 1, action. Awesome, perfect. I think it was really cool. I just wanted to get a couple of different shots because obviously there are always different clips visible and you have just like different shapes on your face. But yeah, I think that we covered all the clips when it comes to the consumer setup. So next up, we're just going to switch to the creator setup.
After adding the monitor and adjusting some lights, we had a decent setup to start shooting.
Okay, so we already created a small editor setup here. So this is basically the workstation of the creator. And before we set up the projector in the background and we have all of the crazy light rays, I actually want to have one first shot where the creator just comes back from his shoot, just inserts his SD card into the computer and starts editing. And while he does that, I'm actually going to follow his movement with the gimbal. And then I'm going to turn around the monitor and we're going to use that as a natural transition to the other setup that we had before, where we're going to make it look as if I am coming from behind the TV. 3, 2, 1, action. This one should work. So basically I'm just going to mask out the monitor and make it look as if it is the TV of the consumer. Cool, now that we got the shot, we can actually switch to the creator setup with all of the light rays, what everybody has been waiting for. So we're just going to set up the beamer in the back here.
We set up the projector close to the wall at the right height so that it would be hidden in the background of my shots. But in order to actually see the light rays, we had to use the smoke machine.
Time to smoke my apartment. We actually have some different videos that we can project on here now. I'm actually going to turn the rim light off so we can only see what the projector creates with the light. So if you just look here, I basically downloaded some very abstract clips from stock footage platforms. Visuals like these really create really interesting light rays. As you can see here, we have colorful light rays. They are also moving a little bit. So depending on what clip you're going to show, you're going to have different light rays. We basically settled on 2 different abstract clips. So this is the second one. And with both of them, we're going to create really, really interesting lighting. Okay, so now we have the projector running with the abstract video that I showed you before. And if you look into this direction, then you can see that the video is just being projected onto the wall. However, if I now change my angle and I shoot towards the light, then we actually have these really nice light beams that just create this volumetric lighting here. If I also go all the way to the back, you can see that it's visible everywhere, and basically it's just creating these light rays that are coming out of the monitor. Also, if I go to Maxi himself, then you can see that it looks fucking insane, to be honest. Yeah, so I'm just going to capture a couple of different shots of Maxi editing in the setup. I'm just going to freestyle it a little bit. We're going to have some shots of his hand as well as some shots of his face as well. But now that I'm actually looking at you, I feel like we should add another small pocket light here, or we should actually just brighten up the screen. So if we just go onto a brighter page like this, let me see what that looks like. That's perfect. Man, I've never worked with a projector before, and this is just every filmmaker's dream. Let's capture a few shots of you just editing on the keyboard, and then you can always like look up on the upper monitor as well. I think that should look really nice. Nice, we got some really nice shots here. I'm just gonna keep going up here to get some shots from above the monitor as well. Okay, it looks really nice. We also prepared a second abstract clip, which is a little bit different because that one is going to give us some more, just separated light rays. So we're just going to try them out as well.
As it turned out, the second projector clip resulted in much more simplistic light rays, which meant that there was more focus on the subject. So I basically captured a lot of additional shots on both the gimbal and the handheld setup to create more options in the editing. Lastly, I set up an editing project with the shots that Maxi captured throughout the day, so that we could capture shots of the creator editing his own video.
Now we have a nice setup from the back. So I have Max in the foreground with still some nice shapes on his back. And now we can just capture a couple of different shots of the screen. Basically just play through it. It doesn't really matter too much what you're doing. Ready? Yep. Action. Yep. Okay. I'm just going to capture some even closer shots of the screen. Okay, that was nice. Now we're going to capture the last shot. I basically just want Maxi to go with his cursor to the publish button on YouTube, which basically is the end of his day. He created a video throughout the day, and this is basically him reaching his goal as a creator. So I think it would be nice if you maybe start here with the cursor and you just go over here and then you click.
For this last shot, I put my camera onto the tripod and switched to the macro lens in order to get very close to the screen. And then it was all about Maxi properly timing his cursor movement.
Nice. And that means, what was the last shot? Man, it's been a long day, but I think it was a really, really cool shooting day. We're now just going to turn on the lights and then we're going to wrap this up.
Thank you for sticking through all the way until the end. I hope you enjoyed this longer format, and I'd love to hear your biggest insights in the comments. In a few weeks, I'm launching my Storytelling and Filmmaking Academy, where you'll learn how to create videos people truly care about. This was the second video of my launch series, and next week I'll post a short but powerful documentary about a one-legged BMX rider. Julian is seriously one of the most inspiring people I ever met, and I'm sure you'll be blown away by his incredible story. So make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. Also, join the waitlist for Story Hero Academy through the first link in the description in order to receive valuable updates, free lessons, and exclusive downloads via email, and be first in line when we launch. Thank you for showing up. I will see you next week.